Heading into Act 3, Riot has taken out Icebox and added Bind back into the map pool. And with the recent releases of Gecko and Harbor, we wanted to give an up-to-date tier list for the best meta comps for every map in Valorant, especially with the rise of the double controller and duelist comps you may have seen in VCT. This list should give you an updated guide as to what agents work best within the new meta. So here are our picks for the best comps in the current map pool, starting with Ascent. Firstly, Ascent has had no major changes to the map, so the meta has not adapted beyond some fancy picks that you may have seen in VCT. For example, Giants from EMEA have run an interesting double controller comp with Viper, Omen, KO, Sova, and Jett, with no Sentinel pick. This is because Viper as a character also functions as a pseudo-sentinel, since her utility controls entire areas of the map in a similar fashion to Cypher or Killjoy's utility would. She also lurks arguably better than both of them, since her smokes cut line of sight, so certain utility like KJ Turret or Cypher Cam have to change position to get information on her whereabouts. However, this doesn't mean that this is still the best or most used comp to date, as Fnatic show the tried and true Ascent meta has not changed. The best comp we recommend is still Omen, KO, Sova, Killjoy, and Jett. The amount of diversity allowed with this comp is still unmatched, since the dynamic bursts, defaults, and anchors available from each and every agent with the information gathered on top of anything else you choose. In particular, Omen, Jett, and Killjoy have some of the best plug-and-play agents in any composition in the current meta right now, since all three of these agents can be slotted easily into any map in the pool. Jett is an S-tier duelist with the best hands for an operator in entry, since her movement and escape card dash lets her do the most out of all of the duelists. Omen is a great controller since he can be self-sufficient and a great team player. The best of both worlds for any controller player. The mind games you can play with his Shrouded Step and his Paranoia in combination with his Dark Cover can impact aggressive rank play significantly. Killjoy is still the most picked agent overall on every map, since her kit is essentially in the best spot out of any Sentinel in the pool. Although some recent nerfs have come in the way of her Nano Swarm's detection range being larger than before, her kit is still so powerful despite this. Arguably, in the Immortal Plus elo, there's an option to swap in Astra over Omen or Cypher or Killjoy, but both of these agents require extreme game sense to get the max value over their more meta counterparts. So for anyone lower ranked, try out some more meta picks first. Success will come easier that way. Speaking of free wins, if that's something you're interested in, you ought to check out our brand new course made by Ye. Over on our website ProGuides.com, Ye talks about optimal Valorant training and breaks down everything you need to know if you want to play like the pros. As the new rework is released, Bind's new meta has not been strictly determined yet, but if we look to the past and the present, we can predict the future, to the best of our abilities that is. Previously, teams would run double controller with Viper, Brimstone, Fade, Skye, and Raze. Easily the most common comp you'd see in pro play as well, sometimes with the substitutes for Fade being a Sova or a Sentinel, but the key factors being Viper, Brim, and Raze. This would allow working the map when extremities to be easier since Vipers could take control of an entire lane or site on her own, with Brimstone being used for executions or retakes in a faster manner. This was also Raze's best map to date, with Raze being the highest pick rate of any duelist on Bind. With the new changes coming in, it's fair to assume that this type of comp will still do great. But if you'd like something spicy, this is where we will also introduce the new double meta controller comp that's come around on a lot of other maps due to Harbor's release. We like to call it the Loud comp, since they have innovated and shown its successes at VCT lock-in. The comp is Harbor, Viper, Skye, Killjoy, and Jett, but it's not limited to Jett. On maps like Pearl, a variation scene has been replacing Jett with Raze due to the utility available for clearing spaces, utility, and fast explosive dives. With Bind's smaller nature, going for this Raze variant of the Loud comp is preferred, but even if you do opt for the Jett, you're bound to have success, since with this comp, there's just so much oppressive utility that your enemies will have to deal with. Of course though, Harbor's not for everyone, so if the idea of having one on your team is giving you the shakes, Brimmy will do just fine. Fracture has shown double controller comps as well, with teams like Na'Vi running a competitive comp using Omen, Viper, KO, Cypher, and Raze. But considering they got 3-0 by Fnatic, let's sneak a peek over at what Fnatic were cooking up. Fnatic were running a double initiator comp running Brimstone, Fade, Breach, Killjoy, and Raze. This is definitely the go-to comp we'd choose, but we want to put a special agent that can be interchangeable depending on what elo you are in. We actually think Cypher would be a more ideal pick for Fracture, at least assuming you'd play him well. Similar to Ascent and later down the line Pearl, certain agents fit better depending on your current rank. So anyone in Immortal Plus, Cypher would be the go-to for this comp. He holds global utility, which means he has map-wide information on enemy pushes. He lurks better on attack side, which is perfect for knowing when to rotate. He has setups that make Jetts and Razes alike cower in fear of entering his site. He can split his trips between both sites when your team is crunching one of the attacker spawns. He is better to play retake with since his cages cut line of sight and his trips can be used for spam kills. All of this we think fits into Fracture better. However, even then, chances are Killjoy is still the top choice as your sentinel for your ranked games. Reason being that even though Killjoy has obvious limitations in her kit, being immobile and not having that map-wide presence, she still also has great benefits. Her turret can hold multiple angles at once and is a great tool to swing off of. Her Alarmbot Molly combo is always dangerous and forces enemies to stop their rush. And on top of that, her ancient philosophy is just more intuitive. Cypher's information gathering might be super valuable if your team is in sync, but the sheer amount of damage Killjoy can do is universally understood. Plus, there's always that thing that plopping down her ultimate in the tunnel under B can win you rounds outright. If your opponents are not immediately ready to counter lockdown or send in the Brimmy ult, you're going to get control of site whether they like it or not. So that all makes Killjoy incredibly valuable. Pick your favorite out of the two, but for the rest, try to stick to key agents like Raze, Brim, and Breach. As time goes on, Haven has proven to be a fantastic attacker-sided map with interesting and diverse composition, so we wanted to pick out something that fits this natural aggressive tendency perfectly. For our choice of Haven comp, we have picked out Omen, Gecko, Skye, Killjoy, and Jett. While Skye can be interchangeable with an info initiator like Sova or Fade, such as in the 100 Thieves composition seen in the recent Challengers matches, we feel that Skye fits better for a ranked environment. The reason being is that utility on both Gecko and Skye is rechargeable, meaning all but Gecko's Mosh Pit is rechargeable while Skye's kit isn't outside of her guiding lights. This means that the amount of utility per round you can access for your team to re-hit or retake on either site is essentially infinite compared to Sova or Breach. Gecko's ultimate is also proven to be perfect for the tight spaces in Haven, in combo with the Skye ultimate or Killjoy lockdown. When you use that, you're guaranteed to grab 1 or 2 people for that expert knife kill. Now, as far as 3 bomb sites go, Haven may be the OG, but Lotus is an experiment that has shown wild upsets and interesting compositions throughout its release. While teams like previously mentioned 100 Thieves have run comps like Omen, Skye, Breach, Killjoy, and Jett, this doesn't fit into the same meta ideas we've been discussing around double controllers being on the rise. However, a team like Cloud9 has found their own unique double controller comp outside of the Loud one we had mentioned earlier. We recommend using this comp with Viper, Omen, Skye, Killjoy, and Neon. This is because as far as the maps go, this is the definitive choice for Neon players. With the wide open spaces being sliced up by her fast lane in combination with the previously mentioned Viper, you will be hard pressed to find her in the chaos running around with her passive high gear. She also counters a lot of aggro dashes, satchels, or teleports with her relay bolt in all of the choke points, giving her an extreme edge. She also has the fastest rotation time out of any agent. Being that Lotus is larger than Haven in size, this rotation time can make or break rounds with 3 bomb sites to take or hold. For Pearl, this is another map where the attack side is more apparent, since the verticality of the design is shown to favor attackers in almost every area. This means that double initiator, double duelist, or double controller comps are heavily favored here. Thinking about the sites, executing 5-man in a B site is a common occurrence for any ranked team. So what fits best to create space with utility? Let's look to a team like Na'Vi for reference. In their composition, they have chosen Astra, KO, Gecko, Killjoy, and Jett. This served them well in their matches against Team Heretics, since executing a site with double flash initiators counters smokes like Viper's Wall or setups like Killjoy's with just a knife and a flash. However, we want to make life easier for ranked, so let's talk about lower elo first. If you aren't Immortal Plus, we'd recommend Brimstone, Skye, Gecko, Killjoy, and Jett. Similar to our Haven comp, the idea here is regenerating our utility as much as possible, only this time it's for us to execute hard and fast into sites. In our opinion, Brimstone is excellent in substitution for Astra in lower elo because all of his kit is diverse enough to work across Pearl in a variety of situations. In post plant, he can play for his Molly B long or Molly off one of the primary retake choke points to cut off the defenders. In sight, his smokes in combo with the stim beacon put his team in the best spot to execute. For Astra, her kit requires more experience in the game to fully utilize to its max potential, therefore making it weaker for those with less experience. Think of it like you haven't learned to walk before trying to run. It's going to be a struggle when you try to sprint. Finally, Split is an interesting map in the current map pool since this is the only map where going double sentinel or double duelist is always better than double initiator. Might as well get a double stack of beef while you're at it. Anyways, teams around the world have experimented with these new changes to the map, but we're going to take a look at the former world champion players on G2 for reference. In their composition, they have recently played Astra, Skye, Sage, Cypher, and Raze. In our opinion, Astra once again is made for more higher elos. We also would take some slight variety from Cypher and choose Killjoy instead, since global utility isn't really required to hold spaces on Split unlike the previously mentioned Fracture. Sorry Dapper. For ease of access and to appease the meta gods, we'd choose Omen, Skye, Sage, Killjoy, and Raze for the current patch on Split. Raze has always had a strong hand-in-hand with Sage, since the slow orb and paint shells combo can net some easy kills in any choke point, especially on mid, male, and B site. Skye has risen to be the top initiator in the meta because of her healing ability, information gathering, and combat ability to be self-sufficient. Her regenerating Hawks Out still generates some of the best information for little cost, so start grinding ranked with the Aussie Queen herself. And that's gonna wrap up our guide. Thanks everyone for watching, and if you want to see more, don't forget to leave a like and comment below any suggestions you may have, and subscribe so that you'll never miss an upload. We'll see you all in the next one.